Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about the Choose Your Own Adventure project, and here's my repository with a collaborator. And I kind of showed you how to add a collaborator. Let me just remind you of the steps. You go to your repository, you click on settings. It usually asks you at some point to put your username in. I'm sorry, your password. Then you want to find a collaborator. They have to have an account on GitHub. But if you have one, and as you start typing it out, you will see the different ones there. So if I just click on here, I can now add him as a collaborator. However, what I want to show you is, what do you do if you're on a team, but you are not the owner of the repository? So what I've asked my students to do is I asked my students to invite me as a collaborator onto their site. So I want to show you what it looks like when you're not the one running the show, but you are going to collaborate. Okay, here is my email I received. This particular student added me to his repository, and I get this email. So when you invite someone, they will get an email like this. You can now push to this repository. View it on GitHub. So let's take a look at it. Here's the repository. Choose Your Own Adventure. Now, I have not created a Git folder of this. So what I want to do is clone this. Okay, it has a note. I've got other information here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone it. So I'm going to click on copy to the to clipboard, and I'm going to create it. So now I want to find a folder. So let me open that up. So here's my folder. I'm creating a new one here, and I'll just call it Team Project Repository. And I'm going to right click on it. Now we're going to cheat a little bit here. You might not have known that you can do this. I'm going to write here, I've got Git init here. So I can click that. Okay, that initializes the folder. If I open it, I can see it says Git there. But let's go back one and let's right click on it. And now, look at this. I can add files, commit. I can do all this stuff with folders. So what I want to do is I want to open Git bash. So I just right click, choose Git bash, and it's going to take me right to that folder. Now what I want to do is I want to clone the repository. So this is the command, git clone, and then I right click that path to the repository. And I click, remember that was that little click I did. When I hit enter, it clones into. Now theoretically, once I've cloned into, I should be able to make changes and push it out. So let's go look at the team project repository. Notice we need to go into this folder. So I'm going to right click and do git bash here. So now I'm in the right one, and in here I'm just going to type exit. So this is the one, see, it's Choose Your Own Adventure. Now I haven't done anything, so let's look at our files. And I see the CYOA must be Choose Your Own Adventure, so I'm going to right click and I want to edit this one. And I wanted to edit with idle, but it wants to open in PyCharm, so I'll just open it in PyCharm. So I'm just going to double click and open that. Okay, so here's the project. I'm going to make a change. So now this is, okay, so when you join a team, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set aside an area of code that, like in this case, it depends. If your project uses if it uses a lot of different, if it uses a lot of different files, that's going to be one thing. Okay, but if your project has only one file, you can do what we're going to do here. And because this is going to be creating functions, what we do is we create a comment header for my work. So my work's going to go under this line. Jacob's work goes under that line, etc. So this is one of the ways we're going to do it. The other thing is we're going to need to have a main section of code that I'm going to put in here, and we'll call it main. And we'll keep the formatting here like they had before. Something like this. Okay. Main code. All right, so I make a little change. And we're going to save. Now, one of the things I recommend you do, now before I even save, when you're working with Git, it's a good idea to, every time you work, try a git pull origin master. Now, I've been giving you the wrong information. Origin means the repository. Master just means what branch we're pulling into. And now it should ask for my password, but it might not. So we run it, waits, it's looking. It's already up to date. Okay, so pulling is always an important part before you begin work. Then it's always a good idea to get status. Get status, because then it tells you where we're at. So we have some changes, they're not staged, so we need to stage them, and then we need to commit them. So I'll put git add dot. So that adds or stages my changes. Git commit dash m for the message, and then we're going to go ahead and write down this message. Added 100 Visions guy as collaborator, like so. So I add, I commit. Now comes the interesting part. So what I want to do is do a git push origin master. Again, we're pushing to the origin, which is the remote, and I'm pushing to the master branch. And as long as I'm invited as a collaborator, it lets me push it through. So now let's go take a look at the site. So it really isn't as hard as you might think it is. It's basically create a repository that you clone the repository. Once you clone the repository, then you can basically start working on it. Now there's 7 commits. And right here it says I authored 43 seconds ago. So now I'm a collaborator. I've worked. They have my new change. So when they get on there, they're going to do a git pull, but when they do that, they're going to get my work. And so that's how it works as a collaborator. So let's review the steps, and I'll just go through the command. Before you work, and by the way, at any time during work, let's say you do a commit and you push it through, you can always do a pull. Git pull origin master. And if there's anything new, you'll get it. And then it will merge with what you have so that you need to find out if you want to read this message. And as long as it says something like already up to date, or it does something where it just shows you files, but it doesn't give you a warning, you're okay. So it's git pull origin master, and then work. Work on your project. So on the main code, we'll call the main function. Okay? Or it's the intro function, right? So intro. And I look up here, we don't have an intro function, so I guess I'll be in charge of defining the intro function. So now watch, I'm going to do a little bit of work. Oh, define, yeah, intro, duh. Now I'm trying to call functions that don't exist. That's going to be up to the other students to define. So how about for now, instead of doing that, I'm going to put what's called pass. And that's just a placeholder. Okay, it's a placeholder. So when you work, you want to work to the part where you have a good stopping point. So this should be good, but let's test this code out and make sure it is working. One moment. So, I'm sorry, so PyCharms, we just need to go here, execute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test it. So if you're going to debug your program, you've got to run it. And make sure there's no crashes. So if we had a syntax error, we'd want to fix it. So let's make sure it works correctly. Here we go, beginning of the story. Click OK. Do you choose 1, 2, or 3? Let's choose 5. suddenly beginning of the story. Do you choose 1, 2, or 3? I choose 1. Click OK, and we're done. Now, I'm not sure what happened here. I must have run it twice. Do 3, 2, click OK. Okay. So anyway, I didn't run any errors. So I've made some progress. This was a good start. Okay, and so on here, it's the intro function. If they choose anything other than my choices, I call the intro function. And then in the main code, I call the intro function. So that calls it and gets this started. And that starts the chain reaction. Okay, it works, right? So I've made some changes. I've tested it. Always make changes. Always test. And then once you've tested, and you've shown that you haven't broken it, it's a good time to commit. So now get status. I always do this. Get add dot, which adds everything. Get commit -m. Keep your messages simple. I usually begin with the verb like added intro function. Get push origin master. So it's get add dot, get commit -m, whatever your message is, get push origin master, put in your username, put in your password, and now I've pushed my changes through. We can go to the repository, hit refresh, and now you will see there is yet another push, another commit right here. And that was there. So if I click on commits, it tells us the story of what happened. So there we go. Okay, so I've collaborated and I've already worked on one function. So that's how you work as a team member. And then I'm hoping we get to have a problem that someone has a merge difficulty. And then when that happens, I have to show you what's called the diff tool. So we figure out how to deal with conflicts in our merges. But for now, I hope this is helpful. I wish you all the best of luck in all of your team projects out there. So long. Yeah.